shows with somebody that was like my partner at the time. And the shows we were going to were like generally involved in what was considered like different DIY spaces.
So at that competition, actually, there was quite a few women at that point. When I say quite a few, I feel like maybe like 5. So, but more than now. I think now maybe there's, I don't know, actively people playing out. I would say probably 3 or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. I want to say that. It's just what comes to mind.
But I definitely noticed that it was organized by men, and the majority of the musicians were men.
But it is like, you know, heavily male fronted. I call it like dude rock. Yeah, it's a lot of that. And definitely, you know, people of color are very limited. Not very many LGBTQ either. So I get a little honestly bored.
I think there are like some spaces that are kind of like rowdy, angry boys spaces in Colombia. And it's like, first and foremost, like physically not safe.
I'm not really interested in participating in spaces that aren't safe spaces. I'm just whatever.
I just like personally want to be in a space that's not physically or emotionally violent. And that doesn't mean like I never am mad about anything, or I never write like a really like angry song about something or like any of those like cliche kind of things. I just think that people deserve to be involved in communities that like aren't going to harm them.
Crave all the time that there were more people that I felt comfortable playing with, because it's really intimidating to approach like a guy and ask them, because actually it is like mostly like upper 20s and 30-year-old men who play here. Yeah, so it's like really intimidating. I don't know.
I think particularly in college towns, like you'd think that there would be like a lot of shows that are happening where people are like really progressive, but like it's just like not necessarily true. It's like no harm, no shade, but like that's like not really happening, and there aren't like always like a lot of spaces for that, even in like DIY spaces that are like outside of capitalism's dirty fingers or something like that.
The power structures that exist in dominant society are going to manifest in like smaller subcultures, and the only way to undo those is by having a push against it and unlearning, and that's a nasty, sticky project. So I feel like there has to be a constant push. Hey, this isn't okay. Hey, this doesn't feel good. Like, hey, I'm here. Like, listen to me. Like, and I've definitely felt like I have to do that. Or I have done that. And other people have done that, have to do that. Or you walk away, which can be really sad, especially if you're really invested. And it's okay, too. Like, you make those choices, you know?
I have unfortunately my feelings have been hurt a lot because all the write-ups that I've ever come across about the band that I play with that gets write-ups, my name has been left out. And then once we added the other female, her name has always been left out. Whereas, the other males in the band are always listed, even people that don't play with us that often. And that's not me upset with my band at all, because unfortunately that's just, I don't know, I guess it's just the media not really like taking the time to research or look into it that much, or even contact the band.
It's really shitty when in other places in the world you're oppressed and silenced, and then like the place that's supposed to be, this like alternative whatever open space is just not that.
It's not as heartbreaking when like you feel like rejected or marginalized by dominant society. That's just like, of course. But when it happens in your smaller communities, that's where shit gets out of hand. That's where for me I just am like, no, not here.
I haven't actually had the confidence to really mention it to my band because it's just a touchy subject, and I do worry a lot that, speaking up, you just immediately fulfill the stereotype of being like another woman that's like really vocal and outspoken, and that men are going to be like, whoa, you're like stepping on my toes, and like I haven't done anything wrong, and I'm not like intentionally doing any harm or trying to exclude or anything like that. It just is how it is.
I was in a band called Rough Blush recently, and I did want to say that I don't identify as a woman. I don't identify as trans. I guess it's more like genderqueer or gender fluid, meaning that I think the binary is bullshit, that there's a lot more than just male or female, and that the idea that there would just be that is just absurd to me. So I'm somewhere else. So I make a joke. I'll be like, oh, this is a project of it's all not dudes, because some of us won't identify as women. So Rough Blush was all not dudes. And we sang about a lot of I sang, they sang too, but a lot of our music and the themes were about like our frustrations with the manifestations of like sexism and heteronormativity and violence within punk communities.
And there was like this moment at the last show at Diva when Rough Blush played, and they started their set with a poem that Sheena had written and performed that was just calling out men in the scene for being misogynist, rapists, racist, etc. And it was amazing, and it was so powerful, and there were a lot of men in the room, and I think there were a lot of men in the room that just didn't know how to take that, and didn't know what to do with that, and maybe even who like wanted to know but just didn't know.
I find it hard not to just talk about how I am feeling. I think I hide inside my mind from all my violent thinking. I hate the world, I hate the cops, I hate the need to have a job. I hate the state, I hate the law, I hate the nightmare of it all. Can you used to see my apathy? Can you used to see right through me? Can you used to hear when I scream FTL?
My definition of punk includes like actively trying to contribute to social change and fighting against oppression. Like that's what punk is to me. I don't really feel like that's what a lot of people think of punk as.
I think that radical ideologies should definitely be involved in DIY spaces. Like, I don't know why you would go through like such an effort to like make your own space and like book shows and like it's just like so much time and effort. Like, why would you go through all of it if you don't like want to be like a politically radical and conscious person? Like, it just feels like such a waste.
I just really want it to be different, but I don't know how, and I don't know where to start, and I want it to be diverse. But honestly, I've come to the conclusion that I just need to move because I just feel like it's not going anywhere here, and there's not people moving here that would contribute in that way. Most people are just realizing that it's not going to change really here. And yeah.
Like, I'm confused. Does anybody know what punk is?
Because I have an idea, and it's not drinking beer and playing music exclusively. It's about that intimacy and about all the shit that it takes to, like, not be a shit bag, if you know what I mean. Okay. Punk speech is over. Yeah.